Hey guys, Dave from Florida here. I'm at the Adams and Rogers Cemeteries, plural, on here in Manatee County. And I'll just read this real quick to you and then do a quick walk around and show you a couple things that are unique to the cemetery. Adams Cemetery, once known as the Fogartyville Colored Cemetery. And I did an earlier video on the Fogartyville Cemetery, which is right next door, which is as I'm panning around, which is a predominantly white cemetery. It does have some black people also, but this is the predominantly colored cemetery, which began in 1896 when William H. and Eliza Etzeroth Fogarty donated 4 acres of land to the community for use as a public cemetery. Now, before I continue with this, rumor out here has it that this land was donated or deeded to an old slave, and he in turn gave the land back to where African Americans could be buried. That's the rumor on the street, if you will. But the cemetery's earliest marker is the final resting place of Joseph P. Alston. In 1922, after the cemetery lots had been sold, his trustees bought an additional 4 acres of land, of which a portion was set aside for those unable to purchase a burial plot. This area was referred to as the Adams section and is still used occasionally for burials. Rogers Cemetery adjoins the Adams Cemetery and was used as a burying ground for African American residents of Manatee County beginning in the mid-1800s. The cemetery is named for Garfield and Minnie L. Rogers. Garfield Rogers spearheaded the civil rights movement locally and was instrumental in establishing the first school for African American students in Manatee County. Recognizing the need for a final resting place for those who could not afford it, the Rogers family donated or sold burial sites to persons of limited means up to 1967. In 1988, both cemeteries came under the care of Manatee County as abandoned cemeteries. And like I said, I'm not going to walk around too far, and I'll tell you why. Because basically, what you see here all looks the same as you walk throughout the entire cemetery. But what's interesting to point out is, because everything is the same, these were all very shallow graves. Saved them time to dig the graves. Unlike the current cemeteries of today, where you dig down 5 or 6 feet or whatever it is, have a huge headstone, or vaults, that kind of thing. All of these are the same. So as I pan around, you're going to see rows and rows, and they're all the same. So this is traditionally not done any longer. Very few of these have headstones. So this makes this cemetery really stand out, because this is just not done any longer. They're even coming through, which spoke to a gentleman here that's actually recovering a cemetery today. So he's putting a new topper piece on it, that's what I call it anyways. So you can see how it's got a top on it and then a lower piece. So he's uncovered the lower piece, which is still sealed, so he's not like, uncovering anything that doesn't need to be uncovered. But then putting the new top piece on it and then remarking it. So anyway, so that's a little bit about this cemetery. Like I said, there's not really much to see here because everything is literally the same here. But by today's cemetery standards, this is very unique because this just isn't done anymore.